So why do I love changing the oil in the HHR? Well, I can tell you two things make it enjoyable to do, and that is a oil pump extractor that I got off of Amazon for like 20, 30 bucks, and the HHR's engine design itself, where the filter is actually on the top of the engine, which doesn't seem to be as common as it'd be great if it was, but it's not. So with the pump and the fact that the filter's on the top, there's no need for me to lift the car up on jack stands, crawl under there, potentially strip the drain plug bolt, although I've never done that. It does happen, I hear. So those reasons make it really easy to change this pretty much anywhere. I might jump around a little bit on the video, but I wanted to just show you a few tips in addition to the pump and see if you agree.
Time to make the donuts!
Here's a trick to remove the old gasket ring so you can put the new one on after your oil change, which you always want to do. Just push on either side. I'm using my finger and my thumb, and I push it forward and it lets the slack out. You can just pull it right off instead of trying to pick it with your finger or a screwdriver and risk damaging the housing. And your new one, when it all the way down on that groove, you can actually see some orange residue. And I'll put a thin bead of fresh oil around here. That'll seat into place once you screw it back in. The other nice thing with the HHR, having a filter like that on the top of the engine, is you never have to even jack your car up or get underneath to change the oil if you use an oil pump like this. About 20 bucks on Amazon. So real quick, you can see on the pump it tells you what direction the flow is, but the skinny hose goes down the dipstick tube. If that want to go into a container, you can use a jug or anything. I like to use an old 5-quart because this takes 5 quarts and it has the thing on the side so you can actually see how much you pull out. So this is where it helps to think ahead or plan ahead before you do your oil change. In my case, I still had a 5-quart jug with about a quart left from my last oil change, and so I poured that out into the empty water jug to put aside for the new change, and then I used that empty old 5-quart jug to take the old oil out, and I could see how much I had in there. The other thing I can't emphasize enough is also remember to make sure you have enough rags, paper towels, plastic bags, whatever, to keep things clean. Positive goes on here. On the positive terminal, I lost my red cover. The negative, I put it on there. Got the switch. That's all there is to it. This is what it looks like when your oil filter cap is actually on the engine. So it's that black thing, and it's got like a built-in hex thing that you can use some pliers or something to loosen it up with, as well as tighten it back down. Once you hand tighten it, you got to go a little further so there's no gap between the top of this, the lid, and the metal part below. It's kind of weird. This is like a plastic material, but it seems to hold up fine. Again, just another view here. Positive terminal, and this nut here on the EVAP valve is what I use to hook the oil pump up with. So you never even have to mess with the drain plug on the bottom of the pan, because the oil pump hose that goes down the oil dipstick feeder, it does a great job of getting probably at least as much oil out as you would putting the car up on a lift or on ramps or jack stands or whatever. Okay, so the engine is rated for 5 weight 30 full synthetic ideally, and 5 quarts. If it's the Mobil 1 oil filter, it's the M1C151A. But what I've found is when changing the oil, like in this case it says it takes 5 quarts, I never trust that that's what you should put back in. That's why on the one hand I also like to see what I pull out. So in this case I think the oil was a little low to begin with, so maybe a half a quart at most, and it took out about 4 quarts and a little bit. So I didn't get 5 quarts out of the engine. So when I fill it back up, I put in about 4.5 tops. I check the dipstick, I start the engine, let the oil go through the system, turn the engine off, check it again. And a lot of times, no matter what car I've changed oil in, it almost never takes the total amount that it says it should take, even with the oil filter change. Now that said, the nice thing is if you did overfill it, which you don't want to do, and start driving around in that, you have the oil pump, so you could extract what you overdid and take some of it back out. Okay, now on how to reset the oil change light. Okay, to reset the oil light, press the bottom two buttons together, and then hit the bottom button. And you gotta hold it for about a second until it says acknowledged. Now you're back to 100%. As always, thank you for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.